Okay, good morning. Is everyone awake?
No.
Is someone still drunk? Yeah, that's good. At least you are here physically. Don't try to fall asleep. My name is Mikko Ohtamaa, coming from Finland, which you probably knew already. I'm here to have a presentation. I excuse my English. It's awful, but in a few years it will get better if I keep giving these same presentations. No, not because I could speak better, but you will get more used to it. So today I'm here to talk about. It's not anything like hardcore stuff. I'm more about talking about why I am doing this stuff in Plone community, and the pain points I feel we have in some places, and something what we could do to fix them. And there is no silver bullet, but let's see how far we get. So, oh, I didn't know. I think the most interesting fact about me is that I started to use Plone in 2004. That was like the highlight of my life, and it has been downhill all the way from there. And just add me into Twitter if you have not it yet there. And I think that the key to understand how the community works is to understand why people are doing this thing there. What's kind of their motivation, why they send these emails, and why these awful and happy things happen. Often they are happy, but sometimes they get a little bit sidetracked, and then we need to do all this cleanup job to try to fix things again. And I can't tell about other persons why they are doing whatever they are doing, but at least for me, I had to spend few quiet moments in my cabin in the boat and think why I'm here to speak for you now. And it all starts with a sad country called Finland. And what we tell to children, our children, not mine, but the other Finnish guys who have them, that in Finland it's like a land that everyone is given a chance by our high tax rates and the money we give for government, that everyone can go to school. Everyone can go to university, and everyone has health care. And after you have paid your taxes, it's up to you whatever you will do with your life. But there shouldn't be like anything to preventing you what you really want to be as a person. And that's what I'm proud in my little country, but it always doesn't work well, and people are complaining about taxes and blah blah blah. So I think Norway is other similar country, and I'm quite sure that Plone wouldn't have happened unless there would have been a lot of Norwegian tax money, and Limi and guys have a free time. The other thing which defines me is the spirit to fight against evil corporations. I think everyone shares here that we need to destroy Microsoft and show all SharePoint users that how great Plone is. And the great thing there is why we are doing is that because when we have this open source, it's like it's something we build ourselves. It's not something that can be taken away from us ever, and we can be proud of the things we do here. And I think everyone in this room are proud about the fact that they are Plone users and not using some other CMS systems.
Silva, sorry.
We'll get to that. And at least that you have this leads to my worries that if you want to be a Mikko, you want to give people an equal chance to participate in a Plone community. But what makes me very, very sad is that every day I see people in IRC and real life that they come there, they really would like to love Plone and they try to do something with it, but they can't do it. They come to ask help. I really want to do this kind of stuff, but it's totally out of my head, and I can't find any clues how to go beyond this point where I am now. And that's what kind of gives me motivation to be speaking here now. And that's actually I don't know who he is, but he had a blog post, or I had a blog post, and this was one of the comments that the person likes Plone, but he really couldn't get forward with it until there was another person telling him how to use the Plone. And I think that's my definition of a consultancy there, that if you can't use it alone and you need to get someone to help you, it's good business for consultancy. It's a scary word, but I think the sad thing is that we are now in that point that people really can't come into Plone outside the Plone community. Of course, if you're working in a company which is already using Plone, they have people who know how to Plone works. They can pass forward this information, but if you are not one of these guys, for example, the good example is the Indian guys or Asian guys who come to IRC. They have like this much of skill, and they have like, yes, I want to do it, and they come again, every day. We will tell that it will be really difficult and it will hurt when you try to use Plone and do this ZCML form stuff. But still they come on the next day that, yes, we do it. And they do it like for 2 months, and then you never hear about them anymore. And it's that it's not, Plone is difficult. Everyone agrees about that. But the thing, what worries me, that even if it's difficult, it's possible for a person to use it and love it. But you need some mentors and helpers and someone to tell you how to do it. And I think it's like that's not how it should be. Because I come from Finland, I have this idea that no matter where you are coming from, you should just be able to take Plone, use it for any purpose you want, and get away with it without that you need to be familiar with someone who actually can help you. And I think if we can't get to that point that it's kind of self-service software development, this community doesn't grow anymore, and in the long run it will start stagnate, because these new guys who are coming outside from Plone community will go to other products or projects where they can actually get things done when they start it on the first few days. Because the new guys, they rarely have someone to help them unless they come to the IRC chat and to try to desperately poke people to get help. And how to get forward from this is that we will need to think how this happens, why we are in this point. Because when I started to use Plone, no one told me how to use it. I just went to the plone.org and I just started reading stuff, and I read more and more and more, and went to a chat, and eventually I was able to start doing some Plone software development. I was even able to start my own software business based on Plone development. And I was very proud that I could tell my friends that I have my own, I'm a business owner, and now I'm doing open source. I'm not working for evil corporations like Nokia, but I'm saving the world line by line of Python code. And the first problem we have is that what someone calls drinking your own champagne. It's that what do you do? You should be your user of your own stuff, so that you, if there's something broken or something not so well done with your software, you should feel the pain yourself. That kind of you can learn about things. Even the lowest worms, if they are put into labyrinth and given enough electric shocks, they can find out their way from there. But I think in Plone world we have some kind of split up, so that we are actually, we have if you are a smart person, you don't actually use the unified installer on our site, and you are not using the build-outs we have created. I am not using this even myself, I can admit it. And we are not even using Windows, which most users are using. And that kind of gives us a blind spot that we can't see the problems what the people who try to come to Plone will face. Or our solution is for those problems is that, okay, that was a nice try, but actually you should do it like this way. Like first install virtual env, and that's like a starting point. And that's something we should probably get rid of. The other characteristic of Plone community is that everything can be solved if we have a better software. So let's make some new software so we can fix this old software, and let's pile them like layers upon of each other. And it's not I'm not sure if it's in the end it will help people, it will help us ourselves to be more productive Plone developers, because we can create our little software in less time. But it's not actually helping those little Indian guys on their Windows laptops somewhere there, crying in IRC, this doesn't not work. I can't get to the point where I could actually write a single line of a Python code there. So it's not that the community doesn't fucking do anything. It's doing a lot of stuff, but it's just at the wrong end of spectrum, where it's already in the place where people who are familiar with Plone can work. It's not in the place that the people who are seeing Plone for the first time. And third thing for me, it's like a red flag showing on the front of my nose that it makes me sometimes angry. Maybe I'm here today for that. Is that you don't care. That's like you are saying that okay, Plone is a complex system. It's difficult to use, and it will hurt you. But so it did hurt me. So you should have the same pain before you are getting anywhere. And I think that's not a very productive approach. That we will just stick in this fact that the Plone it's a massive system. It's used in very big intranets. We can't compete against WordPress because it solves different problems. No, it's not that. It's just the complexity has gotten out of the hands. It doesn't fit to anyone's brain anymore. But that's just an excuse not to try. And because I believe that we should give the same chance for everyone that we old guys had like 5 years ago, we should try harder. So I think the root cause of our issues is that in the end we just can't tell people after you have installed Plone where to go from there and what are the paths. We have the information somewhere in our heads, and it just matters that we can't push it out in a scalable way so that we could reach those masses of internet. So I have few ideas what we could do, and we can. This is like my favorite. If you are writing software, there is no magical elf living in Finland who will write the documentation for you. We have a Santa Claus, but it comes only during Christmas. And
Was it a magical elf or an elk?
he rides on elk.
Okay, on an elk.
Yeah. So if you are creating a software, it's your responsibility for your peers and friends around you that you can actually, or they can actually use it. You can, of course, use it yourself. And this is something that I think we have inherited from job community, that they are not that well versed in documentation. And that's because, not because they are not smart people, not because they are evil people, but because that's the way how they used to work. It's very close community. They come to same room, they come to sprint together, and they communicate by shouting each other. And I have seen this, and that's a very efficient way to tell people how to do things, but it doesn't scale. It doesn't go to internet. And if it's just vocal communications, it will be lost forever. So we should have more written communications with our users, so that they could Google the same problems without going to ask any help. The other thing is, of course, is that Plone is quite a powerful tool, like a powerful tool you are using in the construction industry, and it's like very, very easy to cut off your fingers or legs with Plone. Oops, where is it? Ah! And maybe we should have a little bit more safe guidance there. Like US people like their stickers saying that if you kill yourself with this tool, don't try to sue us again. And it's just one way of doing it. It's just that we will do this kind of business process re-engineering. We will actually sit down with few smart core developers and people, and actually we will try to start using a Plone as a new Plone user. We will see the whole chain of the things you need to do before you reach the point that you can actually change Plone or create some simple form. And then when we see this chain of events, we will start thinking, hey, it's not actually necessary to run build out in this point. We could kind of get around of it, and then Windows users would be more happy because build out never works on Windows. And we actually don't need virtual env because we could actually fix this thing, and we could actually ship with a development toolbar out of the box so that user doesn't need to try to install it themselves, and so on. So that we actually get to the point where the system just works out of the box and you can go there and write your little browser view just to change one thing in Plone. And third thing I think everyone could do is that just care about little things more, not have this, not face these great architectural problems and thinking what lies beyond Job 2 and so on. But you could like start focusing on small problems that new users and everyday Plone world has. Like don't have this mad drive that more code, but instead you go to you read some page on plone.org and you found out, oh, this information is like 4 years old, maybe I should update it. Or you try to find these people who want to come to Plone and try to help them that, okay, we have a new user in IRC, whoa, everyone is cheering, okay, go. It's like on the baby is taking his or her first step, like, okay, you can do it, and then we actually try to fix these things, why this guy is falling down and crying. And even if you don't want to see any kind of this new users, you don't want to write a single line of documentation, or you just want to sit onto your computer and do your Python, at least please add comments in your code, because it's a really sad thing to see something written like 10 years ago and you have a, what's going on? So promise me to at least do something like that if you don't want to do anything to make Plone better for newcomers. And I think that's about it, so I don't have anything to else say. I think we can't make Plone better with more presentations, so I'm looking forward for Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And we have some ideas that we will start making the unified installer easier to come with developer tools. We can start cleaning up plone.org for old documentation and put it to one place, and so on. And if you have any great ideas how we could make this process easier so that everyone can come to Plone like you did a few years ago without help, or even with help, but you wouldn't need that help, I would like to hear them and see if we can come up with some great plan. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I can try to answer them, but my brain doesn't work fully yet, so it might be a little bit slow. Yeah?
So I would like to write more documentation. I need to work on actually getting myself to do that. But one thing I'm wondering, has anybody sat down and made a list of these are the things that somebody new needs to know in order to successfully become a Plone developer? And then have we evaluated what documentation we have and don't have it might be a useful starting point to know what needs to be done.
I think we have done it like in every Plone conference, and we have agreed and we have spoke about it, but no one ever write down that list.
We have open space on Friday on documentation. One thing, Martin Aspari is here. I had this small argument with him in the beginning of the year about Plone Dev Start. And everybody here that gives training sessions should list their pains, because it's something like Plone API is the best thing that ever happened to get new people to Plone, because we have a good documentation. It's quite simple. It's interesting if you go to a training session. Usually I spend the first day not showing code, just showing what Plone does out of the box. People get all excited. The second day, when I mention ZCA, people are trying to kill themselves. It's something like, I don't get it. Because it's something like, Plone is fucking easy to use, but the first steps to actually do something with Plone are hard.
Yeah.
Very, very, very hard. We need to write it down, something like, that's where it hurts, that's where it hurts, that's where it hurts.
I think there's a good reason that the low component architecture is explained in chapter 9 and not chapter 1 of Martin's book. Maybe it should even be in the last chapter. I'm not sure. My experience from training, and I gave a training, this conference, a 2-day training, is exactly the same. The step from using all the awesome tools that are available to effectively customizing them using wielding the code is terrible, because subscale and paster and templar are somehow broken up by design, and there has to be something done to even the terrible step that you have to take from the mouse to the keyboard.
I think one thing I want to see on Monday when I'm back in Finland, that when we have a Plone 4.4 release or whatever comes after 4.3, you never know about the numbers, is that actually you would have something placed on the file system where you can actually drop in the code directly, like boom, and you just hit refresh in your browser and loads the new Python code there without needing to run build out or anything. It had a kind of skeleton already shipped out of the box. Like we have this custom folder in Portal Skins, but we would have something similar on the file system called custom product, where you can just paste in your code and it would be there always.
I think Plone Dev Start comes with something like that set up.
But it points to Zopscale, and Zopscale is broken.
Gotcha.
That was what I was talking to Martin. DevStart is amazing, but
But it
it
needs to
won't
be fixed.
solve the problem for the beginner, because it points them to a Zopscale that's broken, and nobody takes care, nobody updates it anymore.
Somebody should update it.
Yeah.
Could I ask the previous questioner specifically what's broken in Zopscale?
So question was, what's broken in Zopscale?
When we decided to move from Zopscale to Templar, people stopped updating the old Zopscale recipes. So things like Zopscale dexterity is amazing, but their tests are all broken.
Yeah.
So I heard people saying things like that. Yeah, I start with Zopscale dexterity, and then I copy the test from a package that's working and stuff like that. And every single template is broken in some way, and everybody's afraid of going there and fixing it, because yeah, nobody's taking care. Chris did an amazing job with Templar moving forward, but we need to help him. It's something like, this is not, same way we are not supposed to expect Mikko write all the collective docs, we're not supposed to expect Chris will do all the Templar stuff by himself. It's crazy.
That's the problem with Chris is lonely, and there's a Zopscale list, and I don't think really he has the support to keep Zopscale updated. Because there's
I think this is one of these matters to face your dog food and just put it into your mouth and see what happens.
I don't agree Plone API is so amazing because I cannot write a small script to import Plone.api and do something with Plone. You can use it, Plone API works only in Plone. So the amazing thing would do something like Plone API, real API. So I can write a 4-line script and create content in Plone from a command line. That would be really
Actually,
amazing.
there's people working on that. On South American Symposium, we had this guy, Fabiano.
The matter is not
he
people's
wrote
working.
a JSON
Okay,
wrapper for it.
whatever you want, but I don't agree Plone API now is so amazing because a real API is something I do import and write a script. In that way, we could do a lot of things. You don't need to start. You just run the default Plone from the installer, and then you write your script, and then you can do something with Plone at last. You can use it.
I think it's a little bit that we could maybe fix the way how through the web scripts are handled, because the security model is something that most of the users don't need. It actually makes their life pretty much difficult because Python is not working. So if we could just run Python directly through the management interface with some tick box saying that okay, if you enable this tick box, then it will make your Plone a little bit more unsafe. But if you are like the only admin user, then it's okay. And after that tick box, you could just write in the Python script like you do with through the web, and it would be like running the full Python, not the restricted one.
Mikko, one time you had a product, I don't remember the name of it, but it essentially allowed you to do templating through the web, through the Plone interface in your content body. It allowed you to have expressions where you could pull information from the ZODB and perform small Python expressions on them and have them render on your Plone pages. Do you think something like that is still useful?
I can have this excuse that I was young and I needed the money.
So not useful?
Yeah, it's useful and it's still working, but it needs some more love or like rewrite from the scratch. It's not really big product, so it's easy to do with new stuff with a little less code. And I think that's a good idea that you could have like this PHP way of thinking, that you just have a scripted or dynamic. I was calling them dynamic pages, that you have a section for a template and have a section for the Python code, and it just runs it through eval every time you open the page. Eric?
I really like the idea of having, making sure the developers are adding new code, new documentation to the code they're writing. Yeah, I definitely want new code, but documentation. But I'm afraid that, I mean, developers going to develop, and the developers in the framework team have their heads so far up Plone's ass that it's hard to see what it looks like for the end user, and so we really need somebody to be the advocate for them, to say, like, you know exactly what this does, but that makes no sense to somebody who's just started with it. So, I mean, one of the things I've really tried to do is set up teams to kind of counterbalance that with the UI team to say, like, this makes no sense, with a QA team to say this doesn't work, and with the documentation team to say we don't understand how to actually use this. So.
I think we can find out process for it in the documentation open space, and it was actually moved. I'm not sure when it is anymore.
It's Friday now. It's
okay.
Switched between all 3 days so far, but Friday.
Yeah.
Well, I want to follow up on, I thought about asking a question, and Eric has involved me to ask it. And that is, okay, we talk about developers who want to develop. And to me, a developer who writes documents
I think we have been discussing about that this year and a few years back, that in the blip process we should have at least step that here you add documentation, and after it's there you can accept it to the Plone. And I think that's like a process kind of fix for that, but in the end we just need to teach people how to make their developer documentation themselves, so that it comes naturally from them, and we don't need to go there and tell them that now you should try to write something about this. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree that it's important for the developers to write their own documentation. I think a great example of a developer who did that very well is Chris McDonough. Of course, he dealt with a system that he created himself from a small amount of code, which is a great advantage if you're going to write documentation. What we experienced in the Grok project, we would have sprints, and then what would happen is that a few people would show up who didn't feel very experienced with the with Grok, and maybe they were new, but often they were like more, they've been developers that have been around for a long time, but they didn't feel experienced to add like core code. So you would always at these sprints go off into their own documentation group, and that's the risk of separating documentation out from the developers. They would go off in their own documentation group. All the sprint long they would be discussing and trying to figure out stuff, and then at the end of the sprint there would be no new documentation that I could perceive, or hardly any. So it's important to put people who feel very secure. If you're going to have the separate documentation group, you need people who feel very secure about code and understanding it, and would be capable of doing that development. On that group, who are not afraid to speak out, because otherwise that group is going to be completely ineffective if you're not making the developers do it yourself.
I can tell you a secret. It's not a secret, but it works also this way in other communities. That I came here by the airplane, and in airplane, the captain is not actually flying the plane. It's the guy who is helping the captain, and the captain is just sitting on the back seat, telling what things to do, because that's kind of it transfers the knowledge out from their head. So we put more people who try to write the code, and then these people who know how to write it and see how disparate their attempts are, and then they could have their head around that we could make this a little bit easier.
Okay,
Yeah, time up.
Sorry, because the next talk is about to start.
Okay, I will thank everyone, and I will thank our organizers.